Welcome back to part 5 of this series. Today we're going to be working on 3 main things. I want a bloomery, which requires a lot of double sheets. Each sheet requires 2 ingots. Each ingot requires 140. So to make 8 double sheets, we're going to need 16 ingots, which is a lot of bronze. So I want a bloomery to be able to make wrought iron. I want kaolin clay in order to finally make a crucible so that we can produce cast iron. And finally, I want to have a smithed iron mining hammer to replace my tools, because we're just about out of the last of our tools. So, let's get into work today. Now, of course, to actually produce iron blooms, we need iron, which is why I've set up a new iron mine site alongside our magnetite iron mine, just to test out some different ore types to see which one gives a better yield. We'll probably still be using magnetite for the most part, but it's good to have a new mining site set up. We're going to be doing a lot of traveling. Should only be about 2 to 4 hours of travel just to go get this new kaolin clay, which is a specialized type of pink clay that's used for fire clay. Moving back into the base, we started a good supply of bismuth bronze. Now, we'll need 16 ingots to make a bloomery, but with our borderline unlimited copper supplies in this region, and a good amount of bismuth, we should be able to make our bloomery well before we need to actually leave for exploration today. Now I've made 2 loads of bismuth bronze, and the first set of plates, averaging about 5 plates out of 1 full vessel. I've also got a good amount of ingots, but it's time to start exploring this island to see if we can actually find some kaolin clay. It can spawn in old mountains and other areas. I should make a bismuth bronze hammer before I leave, though. But like other things, that'll be done in the background. So, starting out our journey in early winter, we won't be able to get any new crops from the wild or any meat, just in this area at least. But we should be able to make a start on getting kaolin clay. We've still got enough temperature that it shouldn't be a problem, but some areas do get colder. It's time to get into exploration. Alright, so it's been about an hour, and it has been getting closer to both rain and temperature. There's still these mountains in the area. So you can see we're in a temperate biome right now. Even in winter, we've got a good temperature. And we should find some kaolin clay eventually on this continent. Hopefully. Well, though I haven't found any kaolin clay, I have found silver, oddly enough. So we could start making black bronze if we wanted to. Because now we have a good source of silver, lead, copper, and gold. Because mixed in with this silver is lead, or galena, which can be turned into lead. But this area is filled with tropics and old mountains. It's actually why I chose to settle here instead of traveling a while. So we should find kaolin clay soon. I've been out here for 4 days. Anywhere that's warm enough is too dry. Anywhere that is wet enough to spawn kaolin clay is too low in both temperature and location. I have been freezing to death out here in my armor, and it's doing nothing. Damn it. I need to get underground or something. It's too cold. There has to be a cave or something. I've almost made it back home. I can just survive a little longer. Set up a fire near me. Come on. Or not. Damn it. So if I open up my map. Yep, midwinter. With a current temperature of under 10 degrees. But in the mountains, it's so much colder. I went all the way to the coastline. All the way up these to the new mountains. Check the Badlands. Over here is swamps. I'm gonna have to cross the ocean to go and just find a better area where it could spawn. So it was a pain going and getting all my equipment back, but got it all now. Now I was planning to use a rowboat, which is faster, it has a bunch of storage. I've already built it out onto the beach. Only problem is, it needs oarlocks, which can't be made of bronze for some reason. They need to be made of specifically wrought iron, which we can't make yet. So, since I don't want to make the bloomery until we have Cowlin clay, we're gonna have to take the canoe all the way there. But at least it should be a shorter trip this time. There should be a landmass about 2 hours south, usually is. And it should be simple. Well, at least the river hasn't frozen over. Too much, at least. Should be able to get there in good time. Though we won't be able to keep the same speed as in the river. You can see just how far I went on land. There should be a landmass about that far down, maybe. I don't expect it to be too far. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you turn to your right, you can see the rowboat that we will not be using, because we do not have iron. This would be so much better for storage, but we just cannot manage that right now. It's going to be a long trip in just a boat over open water. Well, it's been a little closer to about 3 hours, but we are getting there, I suppose. So this is where I guessed that new lands should be starting, but I don't see anything. I see a coral reef. So that's how far we've traveled. To all of this deep ocean and reef. Reef means that there should be land nearby, but I don't see any. Okay, another half an hour of rowing and we finally hit some land. Should be good. Just need to top up on fresh water and maybe a little food. Ah, I see. This has got a lot of gold and iron. It's not too far off, so it should be fine-ish. Though this island is rather small. It's not exactly a continent. There should be other ones close by, right? Or at least something else I can row to. I've been sailing around for another 3 hours, all the way to the right and now to the left. I'm done. First, there's no food on any of these islands. All the water is salt water, and I'm in the middle of the ocean. The only thing I can think is that there might be a landmass lower down, but I'll have to rush to reach it before I die of dehydration. Look at how far I've traveled. Okay, I checked the wiki. There should be another landmass directly down from your spawn area. So down here. Oh no, I'm taking more damage. Need to drink salt water just to get enough water in the system to stop me from dying from it, but it won't help the starvation damage. It's land with trees and possibly some actual water so I don't die. I can't even run anymore. Just need to get somewhere. Need to get off this beach so I actually get a chance at some fresh water. There are no crops here, but there was some animals. And finally, some fresh water. Need to top up the jug while I'm here. Probably make a few more, just to be able to make the trip back. And I need to go cook up this meat before the starvation damage starts taking chunks out of my health again. Rennet. That's an animal product that I believe has something to do with the milk system. I'll check later. Right now I have to not starve. Oh, yes, finally. Some actual food. I am never making this trip in a canoe, ever again. That was a stupid idea. Should have just started making iron. But now that I'm down this far, I am not leaving without at least one full deposit of kaolin clay. I have to cook up this meat while I'm here so I don't starve as I'm trying to make my way overland. Found a new clay deposit near the water. This should allow me to make at least a couple of extra jugs to bring water along with me. I'll cook them up as I continue to search, because this region is getting a lot closer than my home region to actually being able to spawn kaolin clay. Okay, this is it. There's both enough moisture and temperature to start spawning, and this is one of the areas where kaolin clay can spawn. If I'm gonna find any of it, it's gonna be up here. Let's just hope I can find some and my game's not bugged or something. None of what I came here for yet, but I did find rubber trees, which we did need later down the track, and is the reason I was making that ship in the first place, to come down here and get a bunch of it, because it produces latex sap, which we'll need for later. And you can turn it into softwood pulp that can be turned into circuit boards. Found another tree mixed in with the rubber trees that I think I remember seeing in the journal for being, let's see, its sap can do something, I believe. It's a different type of latex tree. I'll have to bring a few of its saplings back as well to see if there's like a difference between the two. But for the main part, we'll still be just taking rubber saplings, because those are the ones I've always preferred. Okay, it has all the prerequisites. It's got chalk, which it can spawn in, and that's it. That's the thing. These red flowers, they mark where it is. Spade. Should be directly underneath. Where is it? No, come on. You can't just bug it so that it spawns gravel instead of the clay. I traveled literal hours to be here. You can't just screw me over like this game. Come on. Come on. Just a little bit. You've even got more flowers over here. How is there no clay? There should be a bunch of clay just right here. I don't understand. Wait. Yes! Okay, there's only a little bit. Seems that gravel overrided the spawn. But we should be able to get at least some to bring home. Alright, we have a few stacks. I would have wanted almost a full inventory of it, but we've only got a little bit left to mine out. We're just gonna have to make do with this, because I cannot waste any more time this far away from home. Okay, we finally have enough clay to head home, and oh dear God. I have to move 8,000 blocks just to get back to the base. In a canoe. Yep, I'm not filming that. I'll cut back to whenever the hell I get back. Well, that's a few hours of my life I'm never getting back, but I was able to cut off at least a little bit of time. Still had to go and pick up my water jug before I could come home. But at least we're back. And with enough clay to at least start production. Got no idea what our chances of actually building a blast furnace with this much clay is. It's down to luck mostly. I'm gonna set some of these rubber saps up on this hill in case, yeah, they said they'll grow in a month, but in case there's some temperature issue with planting them in the winter, I'm gonna keep one sapling in reserve. I'll move some of the barrels and taps to these trees once they've matured, because we don't need to be making new taps. Those were all the taps we're using in this playthrough. We're just going to be moving them around between different tree plantations is all. Okay, and here is what I was talking about. It's down to luck, because when cooking fire clay, which is the only way we have access to right now, there's only a 20% chance you actually get Cowlin clay powder. Now, if you can do this in a pot, we can do 5 at a time, cheaply. If you can't, then we have to do 1 at a time or use the forge. You cannot, in fact, use the pot. It will not let you, even if you go clear past when the clay should start cooking. It's set to only allow normal food to be cooked inside. So we have to use a normal fire. Okay, I've got the normal clay, I've got a little bit of Cowlin powder. Now to finish off with this flint. And we should just be able to grind down some flint shards and add it to the rest. Why is it not grinding the flint? Why can I not make flint powder? Flint dust. So it requires another mortar? Yes. Okay. Why am I not seeing the fire clay recipe? What do you mean graphite powder? They changed the recipe to be... How do you even get graphite? That's like one of the rarest ore deposits. How the... Oh, this is going to take so much longer than I thought. And you can just get it from graphite ore. There's no bypass for it. Okay, I guess we're finding graphite now. Okay, so now we're at this coal mine. The only reason we're here is because the only time I've ever found graphite in this game is mixed in with coal veins at low depths. So I'm just gonna hope that mining through this coal vein lets me hit the coal vein again at a lower depth. And allows me to find graphite, I guess. Because I don't see any other way of actually getting fire clay. Okay, I found a cave underneath the coal deposit. And granite is something that graphite can spawn in, so it's time to look around the cave and see if we can find anything, I suppose. Some iron and gold and gabbro. Gabbro's actually a good sign. It means that this area is more likely to spawn graphite. I'll set this as a gold marker, in case we ever need a surplus of it. It's not looking particularly good. I'm gonna check the last section of this cave that goes extra deep, and see if there's any graphite here. Graphite spawns in coal and diamond ore veins, so if I can find coal deposits or diamond buds or anything like that. Actually, this What is this? More of that. That's a diamond. Diamonds mean diamond vein. There could be graphite down here. What's that? Is that coal? No, that's graphite. Okay. I thought that we would need to progress all the way to low voltage to find graphite, but apparently I'm just lucky all of a sudden. Couldn't be lucky when I spent 6 hours looking for Calden clay, but suddenly we find graphite. Well, we will need a lot of it. Finally, some graphite ore. We can turn this directly into the powder we need for the fire clay. And it also gives us a nice surplus of coal for the actual iron making in general. Let's take this home. Well, that was far easier than I thought it would be. Now we can actually start making some Calden clay. Fire clay. Now this is much more efficient using machines, but we don't have access to those machines and won't have access to them for a very long time. In fact, we need to use a bunch of this just to get access to those machines. So now that I have this graphite dust, I can break it down into the powder and mix up our first little bit of fire clay. We need 5 for every recipe, so let's see how much this will get us. Yeah, I just did the math. The answer is 3. All of that and I get 3. It's gonna take me several more hours just to be able to get enough of the Calden clay processed in order to use it. So I've gone and welded up the last of the double plates so we can make a bloomery. I am just going to cool these down. They stack in piles 4 because of how large they are. But here we have 8 bismuth bronze double plates. And we should be able to make a bloomery out of it. And it's the same recipe as a chest. So there we go. It doesn't look green, which I thought it would. It looks like the standard, normal brass one, well, bronze one. You can upgrade it into a steam bloomery, but that will take a lot of time. Right now, let's just set this bloomery out and then go back to the mines. So, back down in the mines, this one little channel gave me a little bit of graphite, but I need to expand it definitely. I'll just mine out this little corner here and then send down another 3x3. But, no, damn it. Okay, well that's not great, but we should still be able to recover fully from this without too much problem. Okay, back at the mine entrance. Just need to grab up my stuff and get back to work. Yep, just down here. Where'd the ladder go? Wait, where? Or not. Something's destroyed most of the ladder, but not the bottom? What? Okay, finally back down here. Should be able to get to... my body's completely submerged in lava. That's fun. No, not again. It's going to be a long trip. Alright, so it has certainly been a while. I've had to use rubble and dirt just to patch the lava flow, but I have gotten access back to the graphite again. Though a smaller portion of it, I suppose. Dug out an area for a support beam there because there is no way I am doing open top mine down here. I understand that now. But as you can see, my tools condition have gone down substantially, and I just want to show you what I had to do in order to stabilize this area. So you remember how there was a big lava pit just over the top? How there was all of this rubble and other things all set up? Yeah, I just removed it. Remember how this used to be a hill? You see the top there? That's where it used to be. I moved the entire, chunk of the cave into this lava pit. And I'm still not done. It's still there. That's just how big the pit was. I have been here for almost as long as it took to set up and go and get all of the Cowlin clay that I have for one extra load of gravel. In either case, I'm taking a bunch of granite bricks home to finally set up the bloomery, because I am tired of this area. Wait, there's something going on with the snow. It keeps disappearing randomly. What's going... The temperature's raising. Why is the... It's spring? It's spring. I spent the entirety of winter traveling in boats and getting crushed by rocks. Well, I guess it's time to finally make some progress. So, back at the base, time to finally make the bloomery. Now, you don't need to use granite bricks like it's got pointed out here or that I collected. I'm using them because they're part of what kept falling on my head. And I'm gonna make a full bloomery as well, which is the maximum size of a bloomery that you can have. Just because I'm tired of not having iron, and I want a lot of it all in one go. Okay, first bit of iron in this world, just need to combine hematite with charcoal, and then light the forge. Well, light the bloomery. You'll see that block we made with the 8 bits of double ingots? The main center part. And it'll take 15 minutes to cook, no matter how much you put in there. So it's time to actually start setting up some spring crops so we don't starve, because it's been an entire year and we didn't exactly get a good farming yield last time. And these onions shall be the last of our spring crops. I'll just need to set them in over here, where the moisture is lower. We could put a little bit of garlic in too. But now it's time to go collect our iron blooms from the bloomery. Okay, so here we have 4 iron blooms. In theory, we should be able to make about 10 per set. But right now, it's time to just refine at least one of these down into a wrought iron ingot, so I can actually start making tools. So, after it becomes a raw iron bloom, it turns into a refined iron bloom. And then, with a little bit of work, you can refine it down using this method. Hammer hits, because that's the only thing that really matters. Get a full wrought iron ingot. And this is the first ingot in this entire world. You can get iron a little quicker if you have hostile mobs, but then they'd be shooting rifles at you by year 2. And that would kind of change progression. I'd be able to get resources without having to earn them by processing. Now, of course, we can't make any tools using a bronze anvil. We need an iron one, which means we need 7 double ingots, 14 ingots of wrought iron. And that's going to be our ending goal, to get an iron anvil and to finally get an iron mining hammer, even if it's low quality. But to make an iron anvil, we're going to need a lot of iron, which is why I'm mining out this little hematite deposit that's nearby, and almost starving to do it, but I want to test to see if hematite, or magnetite in this case, is better than the hematite, the red iron ore we've been using. So let's take a good chunk of it back to base before we start dying from hunger. It's a little worse than hematite, so we'll probably keep just using hematite from now on. But we do have enough for another 2 sets of 10. But for now, it's time to refine this set of 10 and finally get that iron out. And with this set, we have just barely enough iron out of all of those bloomings to build a full iron anvil. Luckily, iron doesn't have to be cold to make the anvil. There we go, full tier 3 anvil. Now, once this is done in 4 minutes, we can actually start using iron for tools and other things. So I've made a double ingot for my hammer, and something I'm suddenly realizing is, not only are the top requirements different, but so is the pattern. Modestly forged. That's the poorest one you can get, but it's still better than a cast iron mining hammer. So I suppose it will do, for now at least. From this day forward, we can start making full iron equipment, but all of their patterns are far more complex. I'll try and get perfectly forged equipment, but the difference between a modestly forged and a perfectly forged one is negligible at this level. Here we have it, a full iron mining hammer, and even more iron getting ready to be manufactured.